only have 6 slides, but I'll fill in a little bit of my experience, which Claire didn't touch on. So Ron came for the last 3 years, and I went for the last 2 years. And I didn't know what to expect. And besides the Grand Canyon, and as you can see, it's always grander than you think, and the pictures never do it justice. I will explain how it works. Most people are camping in the campground. We camped in Forest Service land, which doesn't cost anything, but of course the campground is free too. This is Ron's 3rd year, and now because we'd go to the campground to be with Claire and with Lud and other members of our club and people that we've met from last year. This year we saw people we knew. We're thinking, hey, Jim. Yay. We're thinking next year we'd like to be in the campground. If our trailers, you can see it's a little long, it's 22 feet, something like that. And there were some longish trailers like that in the campground that was dedicated to the astronomers. But there are other campsites where we'd have to pay, or maybe we'd ask if we could park, that would accommodate longer trailers. So that was our consideration for camping in camping in the forest. And we were just outside the gates of the Grand Canyon entry where the rangers, you pay your fee. And we were afraid, we couldn't find our national park pass. Will they let us in? I happen to still have my badge from last year that said PVAA and Grand Canyon Party. We just said we're with the astronomers, and they just, every time, they're just really gracious. So that's something to know about going to the party, is that the rangers are way too happy to have you there. And you really feel like you're included from the moment go. And then let's see, what's the next slide? Okay, so I didn't take any night shots, and Claire's view is exactly what it looks like. It's tons of telescopes, and we're allowed to use laser pointers because the flight paths, they worked out with the FAA, I guess, and so the flight paths are not going there. And therefore, as you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people coming through, you can use the laser pointers, and people are pointing out, whatever their telescopes are focused on. There's Claire and Lucy and Ron putting his telescope together, and they called it the telescope field. And to get a sense for, were any of you there before besides Ron and Loretta? So there are 2 fields. They're right behind the Rangers, I forget what they call visitor center, and 2 parking lots that are dedicated to telescopes. And we park in the second parking lot. And I would say that, I don't think Claire mentioned, there were something like 70 telescopes at the most, and it varied between 50 and 70 observers that were manning telescopes each night, starting Saturday night through the next, it was 8 nights, the next Saturday night. Right, Claire?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And so I took photos. This is Ranger Raider. And there, he kind of spearheaded it, and he made sure the man who had established the Star Party was nominated for the National Park Service Award, and he got it. And so he's a dedicated ranger. And like I say, it's very inclusive wherever you're camping. The rangers, and he has a catering service come and brought us a lunch at the end. This was on the Friday or the Saturday, the night before our last observing. And they just cannot make you feel more welcome. And then I have a, whoops, excuse me. I'm going to get my list of things. Oh, so if you picture getting yourself situated in the campground, and then our group, Claremont, we're really social. We had our, what do we call it? Our cocktail hour. At about 4 o'clock, we brought our foods together and did a potluck most every night. If the Rangers had not, the Rangers arranged a pizza party for us, and the people, or rather volunteers, maybe arranged the pizza party, because there are 3 or 4 volunteers that are very implicit in the organizing, who work closely with the Rangers. And then we got invited and got a discount to go see the IMAX show in the little town, which is near where we were camping, 10 minutes from the campground. And so the camaraderie is wonderful amongst the campers. We share food, we share stories, and then us amongst the volunteers and the Rangers. Everybody was just a happy community, everybody on the same page. Now, what happens is once the sun gets low, 7 o'clock, everybody's to get to their telescope. Some people bring their telescope every night, and they've worked it out how you go in, how you drop off your equipment, where you go, where you park. Everybody has red lights. Claire didn't mention it's a dark sky. What do they call it? A dark sky?
International Dark Sky Site.
An international dark sky site. And the Rangers will explain to the public that they've done a lot, like reduce their lights by 90%. I think it's at 75 now, and they're aiming to reduce the white light exposure to 90% in the next year or two. So we're setting up our telescopes. Meanwhile, in front of the visitor center is a plaza. And the plaza will have a speaker every night that the Rangers have invited. And so the talks are vastly varied. They had someone from NASA. They had a Native American person who talked about the astronomical significance of their constellations and how they counted the years and the months and the moon's meaning and so on. They had a poet laureate, maybe from New Mexico, I think, and she spoke. And I'm getting to my friend. I invited a friend last year who's here and now a member of our club. And I said, come, I hadn't gone, but we can go to the Grand Canyon and I'm volunteering. Well, she showed up. She had so much fun. She's joined our club and she's coming too. And then she went with the poet laureate with a group after the talk, and they went to the edge of the canyon as the sun set, and they had some kind of literary event there. So every night there's something different and interesting. Loretta and myself and Claire, were we called guides? What were we called?
Yes. Star guides.
We were called star guides. So Claire made it her business. There's interesting things up on the telescope parking lot. They have talks every half hour, 9, 9:30, and 10. And so the main speaker, the poet, the astronomer will speak in a plaza area. And then there's red lights. They got that going this year so that there's probably several hundred people. And Loretta and I would guide people to make sure they're going the right way to go up to the telescope field. And Claire was at the top there, guiding people either into the field or to the constellation talks that were going on every half hour, so that visitors could get a tour of the night sky. And they were very accomplished amateur astronomers or astronomers that were giving the talks. And then the rest of us were manning telescopes. And what Loretta and I would do is help people find a telescope. It's dark. You have to have a red light. White lights were not tolerated. And get them out of long lines into shorter lines, making sure kids have a step stool to step on. And also a lot of people looking for restrooms, looking for their car, wandering through the bushes. So that was what guides did, is kind of get people going in the direction they needed or wanted to go. And we did that till 11:15. So after the talk, it starts at 9, goes to 11. The talk starts at 7. Correct me if I'm wrong, 8 o'clock.
I think it's 8. Yeah. I think
8
it's 8.
o'clock, goes
Mhm.
till 9. Now it's dark enough. And now it's dark. And we have to herd these people carefully, get them turn off their white lights and go up to the telescope field and go hear the constellation talk or whatever they're doing and help people to the bathroom. And 11:15, we're done. Lights come out. People drive their cars up, pick up their equipment. But by what time do they turn off lights again? Claire?
It's a lit field between 11:50 and midnight. And then everybody who wanted lights to leave has left, and then people can come back and observe. And one morning, we actually had some folks look at the planets. So we had a couple, they told some of the public, and about 10 people were out there at 4 in the morning looking at planets. But we're welcome to stay the whole night long, as is the public, if there's still people wanting to observe after midnight.
And so it's a comprehensive observing experience. Of course, the night sky is pretty dark as they can get it. A lot of people, kinds of questions you ask. Am I going to see the Milky Way? Yes, you have to wait till 9:30 or 10, but it will be coming up. You will see it. And a lot of people just had never been in a dark sky in their whole life. They had a big problem this year. They normally have buses running until the end of the event, but because of manpower shortages, the buses stopped at 9:15, just as we were getting going at the telescope field. So hopefully they can arrange that, because we were trying to help people figure out a way back to their campsite or back to their hotel. And it seemed like the taxi services were not reliable. Uber, Lyft, you just couldn't count on anybody to get some of these people back. But see, Loretta's the first person who came. They're open to other people coming. It's not limited. If you want to volunteer, and some people volunteered for 2 nights or 1 night or 5 nights, whatever you can. The ranger said, the more the merrier. So I encourage everybody to get this experience. It really is fabulous to be at the Grand Canyon with all these astronomy enthusiasts and an enthusiastic public. It's really, really fun.
I see.
Oh, and yes, and my last picture, of course, is a couple of our campers, Claire and Lucy, and on the trail. Oh, and farewell, Grand Canyon.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you. All right.
Yeah, if anybody is interested in going next year, either as a volunteer or just going to attend it and look through the scopes and see the Grand Canyon, there's 2 websites, I believe. I'm pretty sure there's the park has a website and the Tucson Astronomy Club have a website. But if you search Grand Canyon Star Party, I'm sure that you will find at least one website. And if you check it every once in a while, you can get the latest information on, like, if you're planning volunteer, you can make reservations and stuff that you're going to be there.
Yeah, I saw some email information on the TAAA site. So I think if you wrote in and said, I'd like to volunteer next year, they will send you an email when they start to open registration, which happens early in March. And that way you could sign up to volunteer. And then if you were also interested in camping, that's a separate process, but it's an online fill in the blanks about what, 1 vehicle and 2 tents, however many people. And then they work with the Park Service to get those free sites assigned to all the astronomers. So we have a place to stay if that's what you'd like to do.
I have a question, Claire.
Mhm.
So I understood they were doing a star party on the north side too of the Grand Canyon, because some of the people who I was talking to on the telescope said, oh, they'd gone to the north side, they'd seen the stars, and now they were coming to the south side. And then
Right.
some other patrons told me they were going to Bryce Canyon thereafter to their star party.
Right, yeah, Bryce has something, and I'm not sure exactly. I don't think TAAA organizes the North Rim Star Party. I think that's organized another way. But I bet that Raider would be able to point us in the right direction. So if anybody was interested in the North Rim event, then reach out to me. I'll see if I can connect you with the right people to figure out how you might be able to do that. A lot less people up there, a darker sky, 1,000 feet higher in altitude. And I don't know what that event's like. I've never been to it. Much smaller scale, just because they don't get as many people on that rim. But they do a North Rim Star Party as well at the same time.
Okay.